Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we took on a project of doing some wallpaper. So new house, new projects, new things to do. So we took on a project doing wallpaper, and I wanted to give you guys a little tip on how I did this wallpaper and one of the things that you'll probably run into if you do wallpaper as well. So as you can see, sometimes when you do a lot of seams, especially when you start talking about darker wallpaper on a lighter wall. So this wall was like a light gray when you started. You could see sometimes that you have a little bit of a white seam going down the wallpaper. So you either get two problems. One is if you butt the edges together and it shrinks, you'll get separation. And so you try to, when you're doing wallpaper, at least for me, I try to hedge my bet a little bit and just do a tiny little bit of overlap. So when it shrinks, when it dries, it'll line up perfectly. But it's hard to do. Very hard to get that completely correct. So there's two things. One is if you butt the edges together and you get a lot of separation, you're going to see the lighter color or the wall behind it, and you certainly don't want to see that. And so you want to basically be able to touch that up with a color that matches. So one little trick that I have that I've used before is to go to Home Depot and take your wallpaper in and get a color that will match this in a very flat paint. So that way you can touch these little white edges up with a little bit of paint, wipe it down the wall, and you won't see as drastic of a white line. And it works really well too if you just nick your wallpaper, like if this gets nicked or whatever with something where it takes the kind of the blue off it, you'll see white under it. It's a nice little thing to mark and kind of touch up that as well. So I took it in. Two things to note from this. When you go and you bring in this wallpaper, take a sample with you. If your wallpaper is not a pattern like mine, then you can just literally have them match the color. It'll match identically. But then you need a size of a dime in order for them to match it with their little color thing. It's got to be the size of a dime, so roughly that. But with this, they couldn't match it. So you want to try to pick the darkest color you can. So I brought this in just so I could literally try to slide it through and see if I get the same pretty much sheen and color. And so I took a whole bunch of samples when I was there and kind of marked it down the list. And then I had to mix the paint. So when mixing it, I got a little color sample thing. It's like $4. So, I mean, this is a lot of paint to just touch up little seams and little things like that. So it allows you to just get a quick little mixture of it. You don't have to have a whole bucket or a pint of it. And this will just touch up all of our little seams and that sort of thing and walk down the line. You also, if you could find a marker to match, you also could try to use a marker to do the same sort of thing. Just to get the color onto that white seam, it'll help so it blends in a little bit better. But with this color, it's really kind of hard to find a marker that's going to match that really well, and you don't want to do anything that's going to, be that visible for you as well. So let me show you what happens with this. So you can see this seam that's right here. It's a little bit heavier white than I'd like to see, right? So as you go down the seam, you can really see once you get to, let me get out of the light here, see where I kind of stopped. And then where I stopped, you can see the white seam start showing again. So you got blue all the way down to there, and then you can see the seam start showing again. So all you really do is you take a finger, and you can see where I did it here as well, and you just literally, you can see that little bit of blue paint in there where it had some separation and a little bit of blue paint. And that's all you do. All the way up, you just do this, a little bit of blue paint, and then you wipe it down with some paper towel, and then you just can go over it again and wipe it down. Works really well with just little seams and that sort of thing. So this is really the before seam. You can see the white that's on that. So the before seam. Okay? And then all you do is you just take and do a little bit of, just take your finger. It takes a little bit of time, but it's worth the effort. And it just takes that white edge off of it. Okay, so as you can see, if you just go down that line like that, you'll get, and it takes a little bit of time, like I said, you just get a little bit of blue on there, and then you go all the way down the white line, and it takes care of all your little problems with your colors. So if you see any kind of nicks or dings or like that, it allows you to fix those things. So let me show you one other example of it. Okay, so here's one other little example of it where I was moving quick, I hit the ladder against the wall, and it obviously marked and took the paper off of it, so you can see the white underneath the paper. So just so you take a little bit on there, and it allows it to kind of just blend away. And it's just a little bit of paint, so it's not anything that's going to be that harsh or that hard to clean up, but it allows you just to get rid of all those little pieces that maybe you just got a little bit, you got a little bit in a hurry and you marked them a little bit. and they go away. So they literally blend away into the wall, and it looks really nice once it's said and done, and nobody will be any wiser that you hit it with a lighter. Okay guys, so that's my tip today on doing wallpaper. Obviously take your time, do it right the first time. It's a lot easier. Measure your walls, make sure you have your seams and everything correct. But that's my tip for covering up seams. I will see you next time. Subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up. Let me know if you have any other tips and things like that that work really well for your wallpaper projects and things that you're working on. Thanks, we'll see you next time. Bye.